There you go. You're up. It's on. The Zoom meeting has been started.
Yes, I'll just leave it like that.
Yeah, so now that being said, your camera's here.
Right.
So you'll see where you want to put that. If you want to sort of bring it up or
Do
down.
I want to put it on her? She's going to be sitting here?
You could, yeah. You could just put it on the table. No, not on the table. But you want to see her.
Yes.
Could you not sit there?
Oh,
It'll
sure.
be a lot easier.
Yep.
Because then you can see the whole table,
Yep,
including
yep,
her.
yep. Yeah. Do you mind, if you're wandering in the next 15 minutes, could you do the same check in the entrance for me?
That's where I'm off to next, yes.
Oh, amazing.
That's why I came. So I'm going to do this here. And that way, because there'll be the whole table, I imagine, will be full of people.
Yeah.
Is this going to be full, this chair? Let's get rid of it if we can, for now. I would suggest not using it unless you have to. Not right this way. Take a look now. See? Now, we can see everybody, sort of.
She's here.
Hello.
You're at that side.
I'm at
Is
that
well,
side,
that would make it
okay.
easier for this whole camera thing, right?
Sounds good.
I think so. We'll find out. Yeah, there. Now, oh, I think it does that on purpose. Oh yeah, I see what it does. It kind of like adjusts. That's fancy.
Really good enough.
Look at that. Very fancy. Okay, so this is live. I think I already started the Zoom thing.
Cool.
I guess.
Hello, Chaverim.
Okay. Have a
I
nice
don't think
time.
anybody online is on yet.
I don't know if you have to admit them.
Oh,
We
how-
should have a host. Oh, but how would we
You're
do
the host,
that?
I think.
I am not the host.
Started the meeting.
Oh, I don't know what the function is for getting. I think it.
Oh, and it's recording.
Wide
Wonderful.
open. Yeah, I think it's wide open. It just happens.
Okay.
Okay, have fun.
Thank you. I'm not gonna. That's what I meant to service.
Hi. Jason, can I ask you to be, are you staying in this room to study with
I'm
us?
just trying to think where to sit.
Please, wherever you would like.
That's a complex
It is. Can I give you a special rule? Can you have a watch on? Can you A, let me know when it is 1:30? And then please also let me know when it is 2:15. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have nothing for which to tell the time at the moment, so that's a little bit of a problem. And I do have to run to our Little Blossoms Children's Service, so we will have a slightly abbreviated study session compared to some of the others. So if you were in it for like, no, I really wanted my 95 minutes of study, I'm sorry. This will not be.
All right. I have a short list. Except as it comes to music.
So Jason, may I ask what time it is right now?
It is 1:10.
Oh, so we've got like 20 minutes, my friend.
I got 3 minutes.
Okay.
What time does it start?
1:30.
1:30. Yes. 1:30. Wow.
You had lots of time.
I've got lots of say walk, stretch, do some yoga, downward dogs. You feel, I see you're like, this is connecting.
This is, so you're gonna, when does the Little Blossom start?
2:45. We'll probably go till about 2:20. I don't know how to admit people.
You don't have to.
You
I
don't
think
have to, oh, for this.
Yes.
there's a code study session that they go.
Yes, no, but as you can see, there is someone in the weight room. So I don't know.
You go.
That's not a touch screen, so.
Jason, there's it might be with the remote.
Yeah, you have to click on it anymore.
They're already gone, so.
Yeah.
Diana Solomon ostensibly is coming to help us with some of this, but I do not know nor understand. I'm a very bad millennial.
You will eventually.
Tabitha, yay. The lantern. Yes, the fanciest of the crews.
I'm sure.
I feel like actually the ink in this were the more important ones have been made. But
Float around a little
I pride myself on being a non-coercive rabbi. I will no guilt if you walk out on me.
bit.
I know, I have no idea. There's no keyboard. There's no laptop. So I don't. So I don't believe.
It might be one of those Apple ones that senses
It is, but in terms of admitting folks into a room, this is one of those great mysteries of life.
Actually, I had a big phone call back. This is really, I have a whole flashlight.
Or you kicked out 4 people already.
We didn't want them anyway. I trust Jason implicitly.
Right.
He's an excellent judge of character.
They don't stick around, they don't. I went to service on this morning. Last month.
You know about them. Yeah. Got what, 10 hours to go? Yeah. Less. It's one, we got like 6 and a bit. Almost there. More than 2/3 of the way there, Tabitha.
Yeah,
We
no,
can do this.
There was acclamation for Twitter, RIP. There was
My love language is memes,
Yeah.
so I appreciate that. If you find it after a hug, I would very much like to see it.
Somebody wants to come in there.
Yes, I'm sure he sees Shoshana, he's just trying to figure out how.
Okay.
Yes, it depends on how you. Oh, hey, Jason! The hero we didn't even know we needed until right now.
He's a techie person, so he-
Yeah.
Hello, Lisa.
they usually have a wheel where you spin and have all the classes, whatever class lands on, and you have to go to
Like a wheel of
Yeah.
fortune.
I mean, that'd be fascinating.
that. Right, because it's really hard to describe. There's so many.
There are a lot of great ones going on. Like I said, I'm genuinely, if anyone's like, this is not for me, I wanted to try something else, I'm very comfortable with that. There's some wonderful teachers this afternoon.
There's a lot of
Really,
movements.
a lot of movements and great stuff going on. I free you all, not unlike Colmidre. I release you from any vows requiring you to be here studying this text with us. And I still think we still have a few minutes.
Every year I want to put one on, like I have one in my head that I'd like to do, but then I see other sessions that look interesting.
Maybe next year. Next year, it's good
Well,
to have.
I'm a historian for Jewish baseball.
That'll be awesome.
So Sandy Koufax and the Yom Kippur, as well as what I would call the original sin of baseball, which is the 1919 World Series that got thrown in the Black Sox, and Jews were actually behind it.
Ah,
So we'll be forgiven for our sin.
I think that would be excellent. I kind of wish you were doing that this year because the Holy Bees won yesterday, the whole league.
They did. Yes.
So come on, how could that be any better? Hello, Diana. Hello. Shana Tova.
Hi, this is my mom, Virginia Solomon.
Hi.
Thank
you.
Hello.
You know this guy.
We met.
Just a wee.
My aunt and my cousin.
Yeah, you know, no
Good to see
connection,
you.
right, Bobby? What is your name? Tabitha. Nice to meet you. Welcome. Hi.
I'm Shoshana.
Shoshana, so nice to meet you. Welcome.
I'm Jason.
Jason, so great to meet you. Hello.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, you're very welcome. So we are just, for everybody online, you're just live streaming.
Well, it's just essentially, yeah, we can make
And we're
that.
already on.
We are, and it's recording, and it's already recorded. Yes, and Jason's figured out how to let people in.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
We're very
Jason,
indebted. He's the hero
I
we didn't
can't
know we
even
needed, but
tell
we're
you
so
How
excited.
indebted I am. Because
Massively.
I am a Luddite.
Yeah. As As am I.
I don't
I'm
know,
a very
I don't
bad
know what it
millennial.
is, but no, it's not intuitive, let's just put it that way. It is not intuitive for me. And then what are we going, now who is this here? We've got someone,
We have Lisa online. Hello, Lisa. I don't know if she can hear us.
Just try Cooper. See how
She
many
has
you
not
know you get.
responded.
My father knows.
is she here in Toronto, do we know?
I have no idea. Hi. Oh, good. You can hear us.
Can you hear
Wonderful.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Hi. Wonderful.
Hi.
Hello.
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 Hello. Okay. We still have 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So we are.
Cool. Yeah. If you're, are you
I was
comfortable
here,
doing
but
that?
something, there was something that.
Okay. Let's.
I can't
This is
remember what
working.
it was. I was barely.
Wonderful. As I said, I trust you implicitly. I'm a big believer in if it's not broken, not fix it.
Sorry, I'm not getting in there at all.
Especially when it comes to technology. So.
Missing you, up north.
No. Yeah, well,
Not.
because,
Pleasure.
I
Very
remember you
excited.
went, you told me you were going to the island.
yeah,
I
because they're, yeah, I was there, I was there 3 times.
And Adam
I
was
was here. We were just going back and forth and back and forth. And so you were there for very long, what, 4 years?
There for about a week.
Yeah, yeah, the first week of August, something like that.
Yes, always the same.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No, and then I was fine.
That I don't think I'll be up again this year.
Well, I'm only gonna be up for part of Thanksgiving, just to close the place.
Right.
I don't think I've been up since. I don't even.
I'm sorry.
You know, so it's like it's changed.
I think that's a responsible thing to do. Also,
Yeah,
it's
for
good
sure.
to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's
Oh, yeah.
like,
The Zoom.
Otherwise, it was good to see Rachel in town. When she came from Australia.
it's nice, but then we have to do it.
Pardon me?
I'm Tabitha.
Yeah. Hi, Kevin, you know Bob?
I was hearing all about it.
Do you know what's wrong with your card?
I went to service.
Because they have a whole thing about the
And it's
baseball.
more.
It's lovely, right? But
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and I remember seeing that.
And I was able to.
Really great character in that.
Because I'm at the beginning of the, I watched second.
We're like,
Oh,
okay, he gets away with that.
that's perfect.
Good for him.
That's perfect.
Well, that's
I mean,
what it was
it's
in the
really what I will
1960s.
say though, for somebody,
Exactly.
you know, together and
So he used the
and how is Philip
kind of a
Smith
strong
doing?
man.
No, I was leading the other.
This is coming back.
Oh, now Jason was in it.
What was it called?
But maybe
Boardwalk
next
Empire,
year.
it was an HBO show. It's
Um,
TV show.
I had,
It was just sort of that interesting documentary, like early, the rumblings of post-Carnegie America, and what the build up to obviously the crash.
Right.
So late 1910s, early 20s. It's a period piece that I like because it's not all about cool costumes and what's clever. It's about the real tactile, like being on the edge of survival and like it all go away.
can I say
It's a little bit toward himself.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm like, so it's a series?
It's on HBO for, which is like 5 seasons or so.
Oh, what's it called?
Boardwalk
I didn't
Empire.
We're
It's
seeing
like a
like
piece of it,
consistent, that's
like,
the first day of Hawaii, seeing an open house.
They do a thing where they like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
cool, which is
well,
nice.
it's fun.
you make a class and figure it's fun.
That's what we're going for. Some Jewish joy. That's what we need.
Yeah,
A little
James.
bit more of J squared.
Hi there.
Fun.
So, Mom, this is your Shoshana, right? This is my mom, Virginia Solomon, and this is Jason, and Mom, this is Rabbi Baruchel.
Me too. I am a big fan of your daughters, so.
He's a big fan of yours.
Though I have to admit that I do, when only in names, because obviously the two of you look nothing alike. But I
Deanna and
consider,
Diana.
no, Diana Goodman.
Oh,
And
yeah.
at first, so I did have a hot second where I was like, she's like, I was very confused. I was like, I mean,
Jason.
go on
Your
me
last
for
name?
my assumptions. And then I was like,
Thank you.
Jenkins?
Yes. I'm not from Canada. So.
You're not from Canada, okay. Actually, I grew up with a Jason
well,
Jenkins,
there you
but.
go. There you go.
Right.
No, it's
Originally from Barbados.
not so bad.
How long have you been here?
Toronto, Canada.
Well,
That's a great answer. Now we want to know.
Good gene.
Canada in 2016, and then Toronto in 2019 fall, right before COVID.
and what brings you to Toronto?
To Toronto. Well, I didn't have much reason to stay. I moved to Calgary originally. I didn't want to stay there since I grew up a lot into the inside. So I decided to move to Toronto.
Well, you must like it. You've been here for 4 years now. Okay.
He makes a mean column.
Oh, do
He
you?
makes a really beautiful column. That's a fun fact about Jason.
Inspired.
Hello. I think we can probably still squeeze around the table quite a bit. Let's see.
I'll sit beside you, but I'll stay.
Can bring Tracy out.
Wherever you would like. Hi. What's your name?
I'm very chill. That's what I know. Everyone's like, that was a chill vibe. And I was like, what do they go for? I go for the chill vibe.
Thank you.
I mean, we can scoot over, we can bring up some chairs, and we hopefully have enough thirsty. All right, where are we on time, parliamentarians?
I haven't.
Oh, she's here, in person, very exciting. We still have 3 whole minutes, so. Okay, the Holy Roman Empire. Neither Holy Roman nor an empire. Discuss. No? I would love that. That was
So
fun.
I think, do you want to do it like before we sort of start right now?
We can do that. Sure, I think folks are still wandering in. I know that Jewish Standard Time is very much a thing, and there's still a couple minutes.
Okay, so let's do
So,
your standard.
yeah. Find some good seats. This is, yeah, I think as many folks as we can have around the table.
No, Mom, it's okay, I'll stay up here then. Yeah, I'll stay up here. Yeah. That is
You would
super-
like. I love that that's my new fun fact, just better than the previous fun fact. It is.
It's a really fun
So
time.
my last one was just that I had never seen a Star Wars movie. That's a less fun fact.
Oh my God, that's
I think it's impressive. At a certain
part of that.
Yeah, well, this is now at this point, because at first it was just a happenstance thing. I never did. And then as time went on, it's become like a source of pride because I lose my fun fact at cocktail parties.
Is there anything we have to do, like to start, or we're effectively on?
Jason is not actually our tech person. I just told him to
I'm
hold the
deferring. I'm
I
deferring.
believe it's already recording.
Yeah, it is recording.
Okay. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, why don't we can
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Shana Tova.
Shana
So
Tova.
nice that everybody is here. What a great day to celebrate the new year and think about what we want in the new year and our past year and where we go from here all together, hopefully. So that's wonderful. We are here, obviously, for a study session with our own Rabbi Baruchel. We're thrilled to have you. It's very exciting. This is your first study session on the high holidays.
It is,
So
in
this
fact.
is the inaugural. The rating cards are outside. No, I'm only kidding.
I'm here. I'm about to say Shana Kiyono, and then I get reading cards.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. So Rabbi Baruchel is our Temple's Director of Outreach and the Next Generation Engagement. It's a really important position. That's a real goal of ours, as we want to bring more people into the congregation of all generations. And it's a terrific role, and we're really, really thrilled that you are in it. She has her master's in history and philosophy of religion from Concordia University, as well as her master's in Hebrew Letters and Rabbinic Ordination from Hebrew Union College at the Jewish Institute of Religion last spring. Rabbi Baruchel comes to us with the unique experience of Hillel outreach professional. The other thing that I asked if I could share with you, because I just think it's super cool, as do, I'm the VP, by the way, I'm not on the board, I'm VP of Education. I think it's been 2 years, at the end of my 2 years coming up, and we'll see what happens for the next term. But she's got a little some serious, some serious cred now with all our kids in the education department. And the reason I say that is because, and this is actually a really serious thing though, because it's a serious role. She was the rabbinic consultant on Adam Sandler's recently released movie, You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, which is, one of these long movies, mainstream, and our own rabbi was the consultant. So that's just one of the fun facts aside from the Star Wars.
The new fun fact. I think it might be more fun than the
which
Star
is pretty
Wars.
cool.
I'll have to decide what I stick with.
That's right.
Thank you
Okay,
so much,
so
Diana.
today, though, what we are here, and everybody welcome, by the way, out there on Zoom, wherever you are, we're happy that you're here as well. Thank goodness we have Jason, who's here, who can manage this much better than I was expected to. So welcome, everyone. I will say, it's going to be more of a live stream for those who are out watching. And the questions, unfortunately, will just sort of be, will remain just in here. Today, you are here and you're joining us to hear Rabbi Baruchel speak to us about white lies, right lies. The bride is always beautiful, and other lies we tell.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. So I know everybody's already read the description of the course, and now I'm going to leave it to you to take over.
Thank you so much, Diana, and thank you for all of your service here at Holy Blossom. Our children are much better off for the millions that you have done in education, so thank you. We take one and rookie educator's mistake. I was about to give away my own source sheet. Hello, everyone. First of all, check in. How are we feeling? How are we doing? This is a chance to fetch. This is an important fetch check-in. Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
It is a stunningly beautiful day, and yet we are here to study some Torah, which
I think we're in the best room though. Yeah. We have the view.
we do actually have the best room. We've got the natural light, so that is in our favor. We've got like T-minus 6 hours till break fast, so we're doing well. I think we're going strong. I'm okay. Any check-ins? No? Good and welfare, as it were? Okay. All right, we'll get on to it then. So before we even get to our source sheet, what would you say is the value that you hold highest in a friend or in a partner? They might be the same, they might be different, but let's just throw a few ideas out there.
Communication.
Communication, very key.
Honesty.
Honesty, that's one that you hear a lot.
Reciprocity.
Reciprocity. Nice.
Loyalty.
Loyalty, absolutely.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness, I mean, this is the time for it, being able to, a lot of these go hand in hand. I think hearing honesty usually comes up as one of the absolute top. And in fact, it's one of our big ones, right? Literally, we can start at the top of our source sheet and see one of our we have 613 commandments, but really one of the main ones, the big 10, is thou shalt not lie, or thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. Boom, says it there in the Torah, right? We're really meant to be truthful. Honesty really matters. Is it as simple as that? No? Say more.
If someone comes in with a lousy dress and you can see that they are very upset, you don't tell them that they have a lousy dress on. You say, that's a very nice dress. And suddenly that person cheers up, and that's what you want to be with her.
Okay, so sometimes there might be some wiggle room, despite the fact that, Torah says you're not meant to lie.
Right. You can't always not lie.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that, please? And please remind me of your name.
Brad.
Brad.
Yes.
Welcome.
There's not only the truth, but there's also
withholding the truth.
Lies of omission.
Yeah, until like the right moment or waiting for an opportunity. I mean, it's a gray area.
There is a gray area. Okay, I like that, and let's hold that there. Because black and white, right? If we're just going truth versus a lie. That can seem quite simple. We, between these two choices, these tensions, we're going to hold truth as a higher mitzvah, a higher value than the lie. But are human beings really as straightforward as black and white? Or do we tend to live in a variety of shades of gray? It's a question that we're going to put out before you. So let's look through what some of our thinkers and what some of our rabbis do with this exact piece. That, boom, Torah is very clear. You're not meant to lie. Very, very straightforward that we start from there. But Torah oftentimes tells us the ideal, the what of how we're supposed to live. And then later thinkers, starting with the rabbis, kind of show us the how. Because Torah is in the ideal, and then the rest of us are going, but how do we actually bring this into reality in our lives? So can I have a volunteer to read our first text, the Tim Mazer? It is English, and every time we're reading, we're going to stay with the English text here. That is the nice lingua franca. No, that was a miscommunication in our service earlier. Someone thought I was asking them to read in Hebrew. I was not. That would have been what we call not cool on my part. So can I have a volunteer for this piece? A drush on Kant, as it were.
Okay.
Thank you, Virginia.
The philosopher Immanuel Kant said that lying was always morally wrong. He argued that all persons are born with an intrinsic worth, in quotes, that he called human dignity. This dignity derives from the fact that humans are uniquely rational beings, capable of freely making their own decisions, setting their own goals, and guiding their conduct by reason. To be human, said Kant, is to have the rational power of free choice. To be ethical, he continued, is to respect that power in oneself and others. Lies are morally wrong, then, for two reasons. First, lying corrupts the most important quality of my being human, my ability to make free, rational choices. Each lie I tell contradicts the part of me that gives me moral worth. Second, my lies rob others of their freedom to choose rationally. When my lie leads people to decide other than that they would have known the truth, I have harmed their human dignity and autonomy. Kant believed that to value ourselves and others as ends instead of means, we have perfect duties, i.e. no exceptions, to avoid damaging, interfering with, or misusing the ability to make free decisions. In other words, no lying.
Thank you so much. All right. Does this text kind of line up with our first commandment here? Or does it's not actually the first commandment, but does it line up with the commandment that we start with? Or not? Is there a tension? What do we think this Mazer is saying about Kant's particular view of lying? Mazer.
It's a pretty black and white description, similar to the notion of fair law. He's saying absolutely you shouldn't lie. And end of discussion.
Yeah.
And it's not the end of the discussion, we wouldn't be here.
Okay. Come on. Absolutely. Yeah, no, he has a no compromise approach, that this is not straight out, you shall not lie. It's very much in line with this. What do we think of that position?
It's very black and white and life is very.
Exactly. I think we're a little messier than that. It's nice, I think, again, in the ideal, when we live in Plato's form of a world of forms, the perfect time, yeah, we could just always be perfectly honest. But as Shoshana mentioned before, there might actually be times when we need to revisit that and nuance that and kind of ask ourselves, especially on this day of our sacred calendar, what counts as, is it sinful? Brad?
Something that really jumps out to me the most is that our lies can rob others of their freedom to choose rationally, as if they're operating on like an entirely different premise, which is a manipulation. I can really see I mean, on the surface, like, don't lie to someone. I mean, that seems just like clearly, that's a clean thing to do, of course. But when you really think of it under that more refined premise, it really, it sheds a lot more light on like why a person should not lie more clearly. Yeah.
And there's a certain aspect of harming yourself as well, that you harm another human being, and also ultimately that those lies are also harming yourself.
How do you, I mean, I think I know what you mean, but like, I'm curious.
Oh, I'm literally quoting the text.
Well, then hot damn.
That's not me, that's Mazer on Kant. I wish I was that cool, but that there's a certain element of when you harm someone else's dignity and humanity, that in turn can also come back and do harm to us. You see that sometimes in the concept of lashon hara, of evil speech, we say gossip. It's a little, again, some nuance in terms of how you want to translate that, but there's some people who say that when you speak ill against another human being, you're actually harming yourself as well in that, which is why I know some of my more observant teachers, when I was studying in Israel, I still remember very clearly sitting at their Shabbat table. And one of my colleagues was going on about to say something about someone who was not at that table in that moment. And our teacher stopped her and said, I need to stop you right now because you're about to do harm to yourself. You know, speak of someone who's not here, even to praise. It was really like, just don't speak of someone who is not present before you, because that then constitutes lashon hara.
Did this praise though?
I think she was just like, just don't talk. Her rule, this was a certain level of observance, but it was really like, just don't speak of, I'm going to stop you, because the person wasn't necessarily about to just vent on this person. It was just a conversation and observation, but it was stop yourself, develop a practice of kind of stopping that, because it, as we can see, things can escalate over time that way. So that actually leads us into our next text.
Oh, but just before, I mean, the second iteration, my lies rob others of their freedom to choose rationally. So, you know, taking Sonia's example of the dress that she thinks is really unbecoming of the woman who's wearing it, and she walks into the room and you think the dress is horrible, and the woman comes up and says, what do you think of my dress? And as you said, you would say, well, I think it's very nice. You tell the white lie. So have you robbed the individual wearing the dress of the choice to perhaps never wear it again? You know, practically speaking, we tell white lies to make other people feel good, and in so doing, we may rob them of accurately evaluating the situation. And is that wrong? Because the situation being evaluated accurately will make them feel badly. So do you give your honest opinion?
Beautiful suggestion. Did you have something to add? No, sorry, I thought. I apologize.
I'm just going to say that you could argue that this absolutely would do this person wrong, because they're going to wear the dress the next opportunity they get, thinking it's a lovely dress, whereas everybody else thinks it's not. So I think he's got a point with this, that you are robbing other people. The part I disagree with is his first statement, that it corrupts the most important quality of by being human, the ability to make free rational choices. I think free rational choices involve this gray area that people have to think, you know, is there a better way I can put this? Maybe I can, you know, couch it that you know, your dress is, you know, nice. I'm wondering if something else would have, you know, maybe even been better for you at this time. You know, I like the way so-and-so goes with your this or that. So there's ways I think we can use our rational choice to do better. And I think that because of that, that sometimes not telling the truth may be the best choice. But it certainly does do the second, which I think is it misinforms people.
So what I'm hearing is that sometimes it's not necessarily what you're saying, but how you say it can matter in these pieces, and that we can hold that, yes, when you opt to tell a white lie, that is preventing someone from having a full picture. But also, is it helpful to have a blanket rule in this regards? Because the fact that we can already start to be pulling back these pieces and layers of how we interact. Because what if that person loves that dress? What if their deceased mother gave them that dress and it doesn't matter that they look frumpy, that they feel good in it because they had a nice connection? Wouldn't you feel a little bit awful telling them that you really don't look very good in that? And also, what are you accomplishing? What is the relationship you have with this person? Is this someone off the street? Is this your best friend? All of these pieces come into play. So yes, it's very important to say, don't lie. But then we have to go, what actually constitutes a lie, and what is the kavanah? What is the intention behind it? So with that, let's hold all of these pieces, these nuances. Let's go forward and see what our rabbis have to say. They're pretty interesting guys, most of the time. So we're first going to look at a source from the Bavli, from Masechet Yevamot. May I have a volunteer to read in the English? Please. Thank you, Carol.
Rob was being vexed by his wife. If he asked her to make lentils, she made peas. If he asked her to make peas, she made lentils. When his son Haya got older, Haya would reserve the request, and then his mother would make what the father wanted. Rob said to his son, "Things are going better with your mother." Alternate translation, your mother. Haya said, "I am reversing it for her." Rob said, "This is what people say, a Talmudic expression for a popular adage. One who comes from you teaches you good sense. You should not do this, as the verse says. They have taught their tongue to speak lies and weary themselves to commit iniquity."
Okay, first of all, because it's the Talmud often has elliptical language, so we can fill this in. What's going on with this scene? We've got the father, Rav, and his wife, a nameless wife. Mani, I don't know what else is new for this moment. It's really exciting when they get a name. It's really exciting. That is how I have a thesis. So, hey. Yeah. But in this case, so we have these three characters and their child, Kia. What is going on? Let's unpack this for a second. Let's just lay the scene of domestic bliss in front of us.
Failure to communicate.
Possibly a failure to communicate. I think essentially, every time Rob, who maybe, we have no idea what kind of husband he is, but he asks his wife to do the domestic labor of making lentils. So what does she do? She makes peas. When he asks her peas, she makes lentils. She does the opposite of what he asks. And that this is something that obviously vexes Rob quite a bit. We don't have any other examples of the communication or lack thereof in this relationship, but eventually their son Kia gets a little bit older, catches on, he's a smart guy, and what does he do?
Yes, peas when father actually does want lentils.
Yeah, so he becomes the middleman, as it were, and he goes, his dad says, "I want lentils," so he's like, mom's always gonna make the opposite. So I can fix this, and I'm going to say that dad wants lentils when he wants peas, and vice versa. And all of a sudden, over time, there's more shalom light. There's some happiness happening in this home, because all of a sudden, there, or at least on the father's end, because again, Rob's wife is very much not mentioned here. We could take some time exploring that, but I digress slightly. That there is, all of a sudden the father's going, things are going, I don't know what it is, son, but things are going a lot better with your mother. And what does Kia do?
He admits that
he confesses. It's a good text for Yom Kippur. He confesses that, well, it's going better because I'm telling mom to do the opposite.
He's lying to her.
Oh, absolutely. It is absolutely a certain amount of lie in this. So I would just put towards you all, are there moments in your life or with your family that you have been in a situation, maybe not quite this, please, I hope this, you were in committed relationships that this is more communication. That was, who said communication was their top value? Tina, you started with communication as a top value. Yes, I think communicate is always going to be a really good start. But even within that communication, are there times when we might have these sorts of, especially when you are playing middlemen with extended families? I think there's definitely times where if I'm communicating something that my mother said to my husband, I might couch things slightly more diplomatically, or vice versa. Not to lie, but because shalom bayit is a thing, that there's some things that you know are just not going to go over well. Is that something that I feel like we've all done that? Yeah, oh yeah. I think that's a deeply human response to want to take care of the people we care for. Also, that we might have people that we love who do not love each other. And that's really hard. But then you get stuck in the middle of that. Like the son who is trying to make things go better with his parents in a stressful situation. Is he lying?
He is lying, but he has a motive.
Has a motive. So the motivation behind the lie
Is to improve the situation in his household, right? Just like, and I'm just gonna give like a random example here. Say if a father is unfaithful and the child know about that, instead of telling the mom that the father wasn't home but she's out working, he would, like some people, like some kids would say, oh, that's his home. Just to more of, protect the feeling of the mom and doesn't want to harm the relationship that they have, and just to protect what they have in the home. Okay. Yes, please.
He, technically, the wife is the one who's not authentic, because she's presenting it. So he is undoing the lie, so it's kind of a double negative. He's actually setting it straight. Because she's the one who is, I assume, purposely making the other thing, not presenting. So she's presenting herself as doing what he's asking, but purposely manipulating it. So the son who is cut on is actually now the double negative and is setting it so right.
There's a bit of like mental gymnastics in saying this, but this kind of gets rid of the whole motivation of why the mother is switching.
Yes.
So it's interesting, but in a way, I don't know if this is relevant, but it's like, this is, by him doing that, this is a lie that's not hurt her, and we don't know why she's trying to do this, so this is actually, it doesn't matter to her if it's like, she's gonna make these lentils one night, regardless, it's just, look at it. Yeah.
That's my question is he's the one lying here. I think she's being difficult and being contrary, maybe better than lying, but he's actually lying. Is he doing harm? And I would say that in one instance, perhaps he is. He's not in terms of creating shalom bayit, in terms of making sure that the husband has his daily vows. But for some reason, the wife wants to be contrary. He's stopping her from being contrary by doing that. Is that harm? I don't know the answer.
Brad?
Could be. When I was a teen, when I was like 17 or 18, it's a quick story, I promise.
Love stories.
You go out with some friends on the weekend, just like maybe like smoke pot with my friends at their house, like once a weekend, less. But I still feel really bad that I didn't like my mom not telling her what I'm doing. So I wrote this very embarrassing, like 4-page letter that I handed to her, leaving a car to get on a bus to go to school. For all she knew, it was like a suicide letter. Anyway, God forbid. But I get home, and of course, there's a storm of emotions, and I was trying to be honest, and my mom, it was not a good time. And so, okay, I know unfortunately I'm not able to be completely truthful with my mom. So to have more autonomy for myself, I need to obscure the things that I do. And later as time went on, if I want to go to a concert downtown, oh, but Brad, you can't get to the Annex, it's a bad neighborhood. It's the Annex, it's not a bad neighborhood. But I had no friends to go to a concert with. I'd go there by myself and say I was, at the time, DJing bar mitzvahs with Megan Boys, so I'd be doing it, obviously. I was doing a show that evening, I'll be home after 11:30. The timing worked out really well. And so no, these are not lies that would harm my mother, and they protected me as well. But these lies compound. It's a good habit. It's not a habit one exactly builds. And though, what does it say on that other page? My lies rob others of their freedom to choose rationally. My mother, we're a Jewish mother, not completely rational. But still, it's these lies compound, and thing goes for therapy. I'm learning to like work and be more communicative about what I want, and I'm doing these things. But still, they do, even if they aren't harmful to the other person, they still do cause us to do harm to ourselves in as much as we're just creating this bad thing, further lying. Where is it going to go to?
And that's exactly what Rob says back to his son. First he says, he does a citation verse where he says, the one who comes from you teaches you good sense. So there's some wisdom there. They say, okay, it's a little bit of, my creations do the best of me. He's saying, my son, you're making some good sense. However, and maybe this makes him rethink his own form of communication with his wife, that if it really as simple as this, maybe they need to sit down and talk about this. But the next line is, they have taught their tongue to speak lies and weary themselves to commit iniquity. So that there is something, as you say, Brad, about, well, one-off white lie for diplomacy's sake, for shalom bayit, maybe not so bad, but careful, because you might find yourself very quickly making a habit of that. Do we think Chia is in the right here? I love show of hands. Who thinks Chia is the son? Yeah. Do we think he's in the right? He's trying. As the child of divorce, I can absolutely resonate with this. Of I just want you guys to get along, please. So I think it's kind of I can see that, and his motivation's absolutely pure, and he's even pretty bright to kind of figure out, oh, there's this piece of communication. However, going back to our drasha on Kant, is he actually robbing his parents of a chance to maybe address a communications issue by just sort of fixing that?
If it went on long term,
Yeah.
smoothing over something.
Absolutely.
As the child of this kind of experience, I would say that there was, where was the question that Rav could have asked his nameless wife about why?
Yeah.
A little curiosity
Yeah.
could go a long way. And so, really, just yesterday, I was put in a situation by my next youngest sister to go broker something. And I said, after years of therapy, I'm stepping back from it. I have your direct relationship, thank you. You can help me do that. And not get, she pauses, don't get mad. This is a lifetime of habit. And we need each other's help to not be, oh, just ask Linda, she'll go do it. She could make it right with your father.
A lifetime of triangulation is the word we use in family systems, which is fancy words essentially talk about getting pulled in to be the peacemaker to do that, and ultimately, oftentimes, being put in a really unfair position. So, kol hakavod for being able to have that revelation. What do we think so we kind of, jury's out in terms of if Pia is in the right or not. I think we can have a lot of empathy for him, absolutely, but maybe there's more to that. What do we think the text thinks? The text think he's in the right.
No.
No, say more.
This is a text that, it says clearly, you should not do this, as the verse says. They have taught their tongue to speak lies and weary themselves to commit iniquity. It's really stark language to say, if it's asking for peas when it's lentils, you'll get, so the verb reverse. Or if it's saying, oh, I'll pay you back in a week, and you never pay them back. It's that there is equal to another.
Anyone else have any other thoughts on that? Let's do Miriam, then Tabitha.
Yeah, just generally, you tell them whoever has the last word for the text.
Yes.
Right?
So we're still.
Yeah.
Whoever has the last word, and there it is. Yeah. Right, go ahead.
Yeah, no, to bring it back again, it's kind of that thing of, I like what you said of it's reality distortion. And the whole thing of defining their agency, it's like values and, we haven't really talked about much. The problem with lying is because we're sort of not talking about feelings. This would be so much easier if we were all just both in an
I'm gonna wear a better color. I wanna look good, like, but the whole feeling management and like what people do when they feel that is hurtful, or what people respond or don't respond to, shutting someone down by hurting them versus depriving someone of information to make, you know, living in a false reality. You imposing a false reality on someone is also a form of hurt, and that is a very slippery slope from what Jeremiah's saying, like full blown, like gaslighting, like all the buzzwords. Yeah. These things stand in tension. It's not as simple as don't lie or lie, and just we can say, just like we can have all the empathy in the world for Kia being the child in the situation, to say, I totally get why you're doing that, but your parents need to talk to each other. I think we can say, yes, the nameless wife is being very contrarian, but I think, yeah, the question that begs to be asked is why? Why is this happening? What has gone wrong? What has broken down? And that by simply smoothing over, and recognizing this pattern and smoothing that over, it actually probably robs both of them of a chance to better their relationship, better their bonds as a human being. And yes, the feelings absolutely come into play in a huge way, and this is actually what our next text is. But before we get there, may I have a time check?
It is 2 minutes to 2.
2 minutes to 2, wonderful.
Can I
Just-
just say
please.
something about this? There's an oxymoron here. This is what the people say. The popular idol, the one who comes from you teaches you good sense. That's the son teaches good sense.
Yes.
As opposed then to what the verse says, is that the implication? The verse says, do not speak lies. So it seems to me there's an oxymoron here.
I think that is definitely one way to read it. I tend to see it as these two things are in tension. That he is acknowledging that his son did something with good sense. He saw what was happening. He was able to observe that, every time the husband, asks for lentils, my wife makes peas. Every time I ask for peas, she makes lentils. She always does the opposite. And so that to get the outcome that his father desires, which is the proof that he wants what he wants it, the son has lied to his mother, has played middleman. So he's going, the good thing there is he's identified something that's happened. So there is some sense here, and maybe also I should go talk to your mother more directly to explore this. And however, my son, and I think this also happens, yes, I see totally why you did that, and maybe let's not make a habit of that, because it is, in this case, it's like a slippery slope of you can develop a habit here that, that seems fairly innocuous right now, but can ultimately end up with some serious harm and repercussions. So yes, they could be polar opposites to each other, but I think it is a yes and, which again, being human, and my child is only 3, so it's much more simple. It's easier to live in black and white with her, but there are moments where I very much go, yes, I see why that happens, sweetheart, and we're gonna try to not do that again. Even though I can be proud of her for a specific response, or I can see that I go, but we're really gonna try to move it over here, because I would be worried if this became your way of being in the world.
I was going to say exactly that I think actually the resolution points us back to the beginning of the theme here, and I think it's actually a lesson about parenting at the end, which is what you arrived at, right? It's when his son Chia got older. So Chia is growing up in this environment of broken communication and learning and observing and watching and figuring out also, without consulting anybody, knows exactly, I know what to do, without actually asking any of the adults how to solve it. And in the end, it's, I think actually Rav is sort of contrite about this misstep in parenting, to think, you know what, actually, you did exactly what we raised you to do, which is to solve it without actually communicating with anybody. So I think actually it ends up, another dimension of this is that it's a lesson in parenting.
Absolutely. It's common. It's there, but there's a lot of levels there. But again, it goes back to our initial piece of it can't just be a blanket statement. That there's a lot of different layers, and a lot depends on the relationships that you have and you hold. That what is going on, is this a one-off? Is this iterative play? And if this is in your family, that can become an ongoing piece that we can unfortunately fall back on specific behaviors and practices, again, that become habit. Whether that is poor communication, poor parenting, lying, that these all are things that are learned behaviors and that we can fall into. Especially on Yom Kippur, a good time to kind of do some self-examination of what patterns am I falling into? This is a great place to remind us that when we think of sin in Judaism, it's not this horrible abomination that you've done, it's chet, which really is an archery term, which means you missed the mark. So to make teshuvah, to return, is really literally to return back to a correct way. So it's not that this is this horrible thing that needs to be washed away, it's that we are doing the work to turn ourselves back to where we need to be. Before we get to our final text, just a quick note of apology. I know most of these sessions are going at least a full hour to an hour and 15. I have to be with our little blossoms at about 2:35. So I will, we were going to do this last text, answer a few questions, and then I will have to pop out. But if you want to continue the conversation, I truly hope and encourage you to do that. And I'm also always happy to keep talking offline. All right. Finally, we get to Hillel and Shammai, who are really the big two, right? These are our absolute standard pair, and obviously they always disagree. My favorite fun fact of the modern city of Jerusalem is there is actually a Hillel Street and a Shammai Street, and they run completely parallel to each other, and they never meet. And I think that some city planner is an absolute genius, and then Rabbi Akiva crosses between the two, and he is Rosh HaChachamim, he is the smartest of the smart for a good reason. So another fun fact about Hillel and Shammai, for as much as they are the quintessential chavruta who are always in machloket, who are always arguing with one another, we know historically that their children married each other. So obviously they might have a lot of disputes amongst each other, but it was always l'shem shamayim. It was always for the sake of heaven, that it was always ongoing on like really fine pieces of law, of halakha, but that their general worldview was actually quite friendly, because you don't let your children marry each other if that's not the case. So,
Talk about family therapy.
I know, right? Some serious stuff. So who would like to bring us home with this final text? This is The Bride is Always Beautiful. This is the namesake of this particular session. Yeah, sure, Brad, please.
Our sages taught, how does one dance before the bride? What song should one sing? What praises should one say? School of Shammai taught, say, the bride is as she is. Say, the bride is as she is. And the school of Hillel taught, say, beautiful and graceful bride. The school of Shammai said to the school of Hillel, she was lame or blind, does one say of her, beautiful and graceful bride? Isn't there a verse in the Torah that teaches, keep far away from any kind of falsehood? The school of Hillel replied to the school of Shammai, according to your opinion, if someone has made a bad purchase in the market, should another praise it in his eyes or depreciate it? Surely one should praise it in his eyes. Therefore, the other sages said, always should the disposition of a person be pleasant with other people.
Okay. Again, let's unpack this a little bit to make sure that we've got exactly what's going on. Who, did I say had? No. Okay. So we've got a bride, and we've got Hillel and Shammai, the school of Hillel and the school of Shammai, saying, what do you say when you have a bride in front of you? So our sages taught, how does one dance before the bride? What does one sing? What praises does one say? And Shammai says, you be honest. You tell the truth. The bride is exactly as she is. This goes back to our first example about the dress. So I think with the stakes significantly raised, weddings, given the productions that many of them are, higher stakes on a wedding day than maybe just someone coming to Shabbos, getting around to this. This is a pretty big deal. But what do you say to the bride? Oh, the bride is exactly as she is. Okay, and Hillel says, no, my friends, you say, beautiful and graceful bride.
I love that he compares it to like a purchase in a market, though. Jesus.
I mean, you do. It's the exact same verb for you acquire a wife. You also acquire a friend. So that's important to note. But it is definitely some exchange going on there. But it's that you don't devalue something that someone feels good about. Tina, did you have a?
Yeah, I was going to say, it is also important that we recognize that our truth is also different than others people's truth, even if it comes to our opinion, right? Like, maybe other people think that it's beautiful, and it's not your place to voice your opinion so loudly.
Absolutely, because things like beauty are subjective. And just like our example previously of, oh, she's wearing an awful looking dress, but what if her dead mother gave it to her and it's something that had a lot of meaning and something, or conversely, something that person feels fantastic in. And it's not your taste, it's a little too 80s, it's a little too, out there. As I say, my sister-in-law is an Instagram influencer. This is actually like her, and she's got tens of thousands of followers, so she's doing it. She's really doing it. I do not understand, nor do I get most of her fashion choices. I don't. But that's not my place to say to her. She feels great. She's doing something, and obviously other people also think she's great. Literally at least 50,000 followers on Instagram. Lord knows how many on TikTok. I don't fully understand. I'm a bad millennial. However, I don't need to say anything to her. She is beautiful, and she feels good about that. And I'm certainly not going to, because what would my motivation be? And I think this starts to take on what I would say is kind of the punchline here, is that honesty is really important. But honesty without kindness is cruelty. I think all of us have that person who goes, oh, I'm just brutally honest. That's me. I'm just so honest. And it's like, yeah, you're a jerk. like that's, because what is your kavanah? What is your intention in bringing this information forward? Now, if your motivation really is to help, possibly, again, with someone who is a dear friend of yours, and you just really think there's something's a little too see-through or something's a little too that, maybe you take them aside, and as Ira said, how you say something matters. And you start to say, let's rethink this particular thing. But again, that's the kindness that comes into play to couple that, because how we behave with other human beings matters. That is actually one of the ultimate lessons of this day.
I have a question. I come from a generation where my mother always told me there's nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. So when we're talking about that, these are things, honesty, there is contradiction there, or I shouldn't say there's social conscious that you have to make.
Absolutely.
So and then we're talking about the situation. I mean, like bringing it in today's context with body shaming, beautiful. I mean, the whole situation with Lizzo, who's now like totally canceled just for any reason.
Spoiler alert.
Just that here's a woman who promoted being body beautiful and then goes and shames her own, her own
dancers and
dancers, whatever, the fan base. How does that? I can see that coming into this context.
Absolutely, I think there's a certain amount of hypocrisy, and I don't know if that's a lie as much as it was saying one thing. It's being a hypocrite. It's just saying one thing and absolutely in your own life, treating others poorly. So I actually think it absolutely comes into play, but I don't think it's contradictory. I think it really is that moment of what is your intention in doing something. Now, the lie she told was that she's living this body positive life and encouraging others to have that, while meanwhile behind the scenes allegedly being quite awful. So that in and of itself is deeply upsetting and harmful. Yeah. I think we've seen a few of those come out recently. I know Ellen DeGeneres is another great example of someone who was put forward as a very positive role model, very kindness matters. That was like one of her show's slogans, and then we find out that she's actually like a total nightmare to work for and is like really awful. And that hurts us more than someone who doesn't put out the most positive piece, right? Because hypocrisy is something that's deeply problematic. But again, we go back to what is the intention, and to the themes of our day that we can see clearly here that there's nuance here. And I think it's fair to say, spoiler alert again, we usually side with Hillel when in the Talmud that when we have to choose between either a Hillel and Shammai, across the board it's Hillel. Why? Because Hillel is historically usually the softer, more flexible and open of the sages. Shammai is very mitzvah and very by the law, and Hillel has a more open interpretation most of the time. And we tend to go with that, Ira.
But Hillel's clearly wrong here. I mean, you read from Kant that you must tell the truth, and he's saying not to tell the truth.
Do we think that? Or what truth is he telling? Because here's also another piece, specifically with a bridal analogy. When's another time we bring up a bridal analogy? Friday nights, l'chadodi. We are meant to greet the Sabbath with that same joy and excitement as when you were in a wedding kahal, in a congregation, watching a bride come in. And that there is a certain moment of, regardless of what actual physical attraction that you may have to this person, when you see a couple walking in, that they are making a commitment to each other and they're really in love, that's exciting. That is intoxicating. No, Ira, you're like, no.
No, I'm just,
No.
I'm appalled to learn that maybe when you're saying what a beautiful Paula, that you don't really mean that.
Hoisted on my own petard. Every Paula is beautiful in its own way. But I think that's the point.
And I'm obviously being tongue in cheek here. I think, again, the harm in saying that the bride is beautiful, I mean, what harm could be done that the groom thinks that he has somebody beautiful? I mean,
I was going to say, there is no, because to that groom, and especially away from any kind of arranged marriage, that groom does, or that couple does think that their partner is beautiful. And I can say this, what do we love in our partners? It's not what makes them perfect. It's the little quirks that might really annoy someone else, but that makes them imperfect that you love because that makes them them. And that in and of itself is beautiful. Maybe no one else in the world thinks that, but for you, you do. Tabitha.
So my dad has this phrase that he uses with my mom that I'm not thinking it's true. And it, my mom has a foundation asked, like, oh, do you think of something? And the phrase he'll use in different iterations is like, it doesn't do you justice. And that's kind of a way to kind of say, you're so much more beautiful than what you're putting on your body right now. And that is a way to, I think, dress analogy, pride analogy.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, there's a way to say things, and can you couple your honesty with kindness? I think there is kindness there, because also with your partner, like I know that this with Rabbi K and myself, there's times where like I really need to know if something looks okay, if this is becoming, and I appreciate it because it's not your best. That's not me on my wedding day. That's not Joe Schmo to call my wedding day saying that. Because it's kind of too late at that point, you're done up, it's happening. So the situation matters, the relationship matters, and the intention matters. And really the one takeaway that I hope we have from this is on this day, as we say, on Yom Kippur atones for the sins that we transgress against God. That's how we do that. And those who were in the service earlier, apologies that I'm saying it for a second time. But for the sins between one human being and another, Yom Kippur does not atone for that. You actually have to go do that work. You have to go ask forgiveness. You have to make that effort. How we treat another human being in this world matters. That is a big distinction in Judaism. Our actions matter, our intention matters, and how we act in this world matters. It's not just enough to do the work inside. And we really need to go out and have right action in how we do that. And be kind. It is 2:15? Wonderful. So, thank you, Jason. Yes, so okay. Well, I think that's a good place to end. Thank you so much for studying with me today. Gemar Chatima Tova, may the rest of your fast be meaningful and quick. And hopefully we will see you all in the afternoon. We have Yisur, we have afternoon prayers, and then it's absolutely stunning Ne'ilah service, followed by Havdalah all together on the front steps. It was so beautiful last year to end the day together. So I do hope to see you all there. Gemar Tov, thank you all.
Thank you.
No, I mean, you can keep them more, I guess, there. Yes. You can absolutely keep that. It's yours. to go run to be with our little ones. So good morning to everyone.
See you later. Go see Robert Steiner. I'm gonna go see Robert Steiner, the political science one. So.
Okay.
All right. See you later. Yeah.
Not a baby, you know, that's 22. We live at St. Clair, it's not compared where it's at.